If you are doing a market research for a need that is present in the market to build your product or service around it, one of the questions that you will always be asked is, what is the size of this opportunity? What is the total addressable market? In this video, let's talk about how to do a total addressable market study and how by doing it properly, you're actually going to get many of the answers that you need for your market research. So typically for studying the size of a market, many people use a framework known as TAM SAM SOM. Basically here is defining three sizes of market to understand you help this opportunity. First, there's the TAM. TAM is your total addressable market. This is the total size of your opportunity, not taking into account anything basically like competitors or your capabilities in your product. So imagine that you're creating a tool for project managers. All the project managers out there in the market potentially could be your TAM. The next stage would be SAM, Serviceable Addressable Market. This one defines the more realistic size of your opportunity of your market and is constrained by things like what is the competition out there and what are the product capabilities that you offer, what is the niche that you are going to be serving. So let's say that, for example, my product is not for project managers, but it's for project managers working in software products. The next stage is SOM, Serviceable Obtainable Market. Here you are looking into what are not just the restrictions of your product or the limitations of your product, but you are also thinking about what are the limitations of your operations. And this is very key. Your operations, although your market might look great, your operations are not going to be able to reach that whole market. You might not be able to support certain currencies, languages, or you might not have enough sales teams or marketing budget to be able to meet those demands for serving that market. So there's going to be typically two ways of doing a TAM SAM SOM research. The first one is just going to be the one that you probably are the most familiar with. Somebody comes and says that, hey, we want to do a product for project managers working in software companies, so software project managers. And let's say that, hey, we think that the total addressable market for this opportunity is 10 billion. That's just a thrown out there number. Typically, what people would do is that the next one is like, well, my SAM would be something, let's say around 30%. We could capture around 30% of the market, of this opportunity on the very long term, based on the type of capabilities that our product or service is going to have, and based on the market share that our competitors have. That would leave maybe the 30% for us. So in the long term, we think that our opportunity could be about 3 billion. And then often they will go like, well, maybe if we restrict a little bit more, because of course 3 billion is still a very large number, especially in the short term, and because this opportunity is still too big, usually what they're going to do is limit it even further. So look, for example, into what is the ICP, what is the ideal customer profile. So let's say that we're focusing on small and medium businesses, and let's say that this will be a 10% of that market. A 10% of the 3 billion would leave us with around 300 million. And then we go and say that, hey, 300 million is the size of opportunity, we can go take it, and it's going to be easy peasy. I have a problem with this approach. It really doesn't tell you much on how you have to move forward. On the other hand, what I like more to do is a bottom-up approach, looking more from what is realistic and what I am going to be doing or what I'm going to be serving with my product. So if I would redo then this TAM, SAM, and SOM exercise with a bottom-up approach, what I will look into is I will still start with the top of the market. I will still start with that understanding of what is the total addressable market. Yes, it's still about the same because I still will be targeting software project managers or project managers in software companies. The next one is that I will look in the SAM, and here already starts to be maybe a bit of more of a difference. I will not just go ahead and throw a quick number as many times as I've seen. Then when it's a top-down approach, I would actually look into the capabilities. What are the specific type of project managers that I'm looking for? There might be a very specific type of project managers that I am serving, and I'm not serving all the types of project managers out there. So it might be by limitations of my product as well. I might look into, hey, my product is only localized into certain languages or localized to certain currencies, metrics that are needed to do your work. If that is not covering the whole market, that's already narrowing down the number of or the percentage of that market that I actually could serve. So it's not only that I'm focusing on the small and medium-sized businesses, but if I go ahead and say that, well, my first version of my product is only available in English, and that might already chunk down as well the size of that potential market, because not everybody out there is going to be able or comfortable working with a software that is in English, so they might not be even purchasing. And there will be for sure different limitations of how your product is built and what niche is actually targeting. So that would then give you your SAM opportunity. But then if you go to the SOM opportunity here, I would like to go even further. What are my operational capabilities? It's not just about the product limitations, but my operational capabilities. If I say that my budget for marketing is 10K a month or 20K a month, then even if the market is huge or the opportunity is huge, I'm not going to be able to address the whole market because I'm not going to have enough budget to do promotion to address the whole market. Then understanding things like conversion rates, how many people or those prospects can I turn into leads, how many of those leads can I turn actually into customers. Those are going to be limitations that are going to be added into a study of a SOM. And I'm not saying that you have to overcomplicate it, but you should be able to put some of this math into the calculation of the SOM. And I would not want to complicate this too much, but I will look into first operationally, what are my capabilities? Am I going to be selling online, which theoretically would allow me to reach to quite many customers, but it's not going to allow me to reach out to everybody. Enterprise companies will not buy usually from like a subscription directly because they need too many seats. And this might happen even with medium-sized companies. I know that we talk already that big companies were out of scope, but even medium-sized companies might not want to buy, let's say, hundreds of seats through a subscription portal. They might want to have a deal and they don't want to pay with a credit card for sure, and they will want to get an invoice that they can actually pay, and probably they want to be listened and they want to talk maybe with somebody from a sales team. If you have sales teams, that is going to again limit your capabilities. So understanding this sales process and how much is this going to limit your market, that will be one chunk. How much are you limited by the promotion capabilities that you have, the marketing budget that you have? That would again take another chunk from your market. All these things add up, and all these things are going to reduce the size of the serviceable obtainable market that you will have. And finally, one that you could consider that are they operational or are they part of the product limitations is that do you support the languages or do you support currencies that are needed in those countries? These ones you have to check yourself where you want to put them. It can be part of the SAM, it can be part of the SOM. I don't think that that's necessarily a problem. It will give you a different estimation of how you grow. But think about this. If you do this exercise, you already have a much better understanding of what are the capabilities of your product, because you had to really understand it for doing the SAM. You have an understanding of what is the total addressable market for starters. You have an understanding of what are the limitations of your product, what type of software project managers are really targeting, in which countries they are, potentially in which industries they are, potentially in which currencies we support. That's going to niche down the people that you're targeting. That's going to help you a lot on focusing, and it's going to help a lot on if I have a sales team or if I have a marketing team, who am I going to targeting? That's going to be much more narrow. That's going to be much more focused than if I had to target a very wide audience. And even if project managers might sound like relatively similar from company to a company, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be differences and there's going to be nuances to the role and to the ways of working that are going to affect the product that they will choose. And also by understanding your operations, is not that you only have an understanding of your product. A market research obviously has to go also into the operational side. What is your type of marketing? What is the marketing budget? What are the marketing activities that you are going to do? Where are your customers? Understanding what size of a sales team do you have? And potentially this is going to help you budget for more people to hire in the future for those teams, because you might need bigger sales teams, you might need bigger marketing teams, you might need bigger supporting teams, actually. So you have to understand all these. Doing a proper TAM SAM SOM exercise is going to really help you a lot. Not just sizing your market, but really doing the market research itself. If you want to know more about how to build successful software products, please subscribe to the newsletter, like the video if you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one, and remember, stay safe.